this, and then where the process where she.
Well, and they can say, well, this is the closest we have to that. But yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But all right. So I finally got.
So what did you say the process? This is a 3.7.
If you look at the very top one where it says
Yeah.
Intel Core i3.
Oh yeah.
I would go for a 5.
Okay.
Bigger.
Or bigger, depending on the cost
Now
increase.
7, aren't they?
Well,
That's what this year laptops.
yeah, 7 is, well, there's 2. So i3 is, it's kind of weird to say that dual core is now slow, but but i3 is the lowest model and it's a dual core. But you can get, I believe, it's been a while since I've looked, but I believe you can get both an i3 or i5 comes in quad core now, and i7. And what that does is that, as I was talking with Bob, because Bob came in a little early, is when you, that basically determines how fast you can do things, and which will also determine kind of the longevity of the device. So if you start with an i3, you're basically saying, I only want this for a couple of years at the most, and then I'm looking to. So, and that's kind of something that everyone has to decide for themselves is, do you want to spend a lot of money and saying this is an investment and I want to keep it for 5 to 10 years, or do I want to buy a low-end one knowing that it's probably going to go slow down in about 2 years, and then in 4 years it's acting like a dinosaur.
Okay, you sent out that email to look at the IM video.
Mm-hmm.
When I log on to that, I get about 3 seconds, and then it stops for about 5 seconds, and then it goes another. Is that my computer?
It could either or your internet speed. And so there's one of 2 options, is either trying to figure out what's going on with your internet speed, depending on what it is, or one thing you can do basically is push pause and then go, if it is the internet, then you push pause, and what it does is it loads the video. It's called buffering, and basically it preloads the video. So you just push pause and let it wait, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or water or whatever you want to drink, and then come back. And then you'll actually see a difference. There will be a darker, more solid looking line along the length of the video. And then the lighter part is what hasn't loaded yet.
Oh.
And if that's completely solid all the way, then you can watch the video and it'll never pause on you again.
There are, I mean, some of the ones I try to watch are fine, and others are not. So I just give up. Try to watch.
It could be that. Well, and the other thing is, it depends on the quality of the video. So the one, because depending on the quality of the video, then determines how much data it takes, which then determines how much internet speed you need. So if you're watching a lower quality video, then it'll probably load and play a lot faster, and then you won't even, it'll buffer faster than you're watching. And there's ways on YouTube to manually adjust the quality of the video so that, if you just want to watch it and don't want the best viewing experience, then you can adjust those settings too.
Okay.
Yeah, so yes, it could be the computer, but yes, it could also be yeah, so it'd be helpful. You can go to speedtest.net, and anyone can do this. It'll help you figure out what speeds you're currently getting.
Yep.
Speedtest.net. And this is, so it's an independent website, meaning it's not sponsored or run by your internet service provider. Speed test.
Net.
.net. Yeah, it's up on the screen. Let me pull it up on the screen for.
Should look like this, right?
Yep.
So you need to download the app.
Well, if you've got, yes, if you're doing it on a mobile device, you have to download the app. If you're running it on a computer, then you just run it in the web browser.
So is that what this? So I just rerun it this way then.
Are you on a computer?
I'll just
No. So you'd have to download the app.
okay.
I have it on my phone. So then you just click begin test, and then this, well, here I can show you. Well, no, I'm not going to show you because then it'll eat up our internet here at the church. But it'll, it looks like you're revving the engine, and so the bar starts going up on the speedometer, and it'll tell you what your download speed is, basically how fast your internet. Then it'll do upload speed, which most of you probably, and myself included, upload speed isn't really a huge concern because most of us aren't uploading content to the internet, videos, things like that.
So what is a download speed that would be acceptable?
Well, there's two things to determine. One, I would say probably minimum for like watching videos would be 10 megabits per second, Mbps. But two, you should also know what you're paying for.
Yeah.
So if you're paying for 50 and you're only getting 10, then it's time to call them and say, I'm not getting what I'm paying for. And it might be a little off. Like if you're getting 40 or 45 out of your 50, that's okay because the speed, the factors include the fact other devices connected to the same network. You're also sharing the internet with everyone else in your neighborhood, so that will just automatically slow it down. And I think the third one would be if you're on wireless. Wireless is always going to be inherently slower than being plugged in via an Ethernet card or cable.
Download speed 33. Is that pretty good?
Here at the church, yeah, that's average.
So if you went on this, or we're on watching a movie or whatever in there, or we were all on the same page on it yet, just you, and it was say 50.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one goes on to the exact same website to check out the speed, but you're still on it. Is it going to drop down to 48?
Potentially.
And then the next person 40. So every single person that gets on it slows down for everybody else a little bit.
Yes. So which is why I didn't run it now because we're all connected right now.
I did. I got 32. I turned it off.
I did too.
One thing with your laptop too, you're a good chance you're going to be hardwired into your modem and router. Well, you won't need a router, so that'll improve your efficiency.
Yeah. If you're hardwired in with the Ethernet cable, then you'll have you should have peppier speeds than a laptop or a phone or a tablet. So if you're getting really slow speeds.
But my laptop is hardwired in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I would look into that, see what you're paying for.
Okay.
Whoever's providing your internet.
CenturyLink.
Yeah. Which is probably CenturyLink is much. I don't think they have quite as fast speeds as Comcast.
Might have more than.
Yeah, but you need to find out what you're actually paying for and use speedtest.net to find out what you're getting and see if there's a discrepancy. And then if there is, then it's probably the internet. If there's not, then it's definitely your computer just getting old.
We had
Or
Verizon,
whether you have
we had bad
your internet
coming
coming
in
in
telephone line as
from
the cable
internet
TV.
people.
I've heard that the telephone
telephone
line
them
them
and said, we're paying for this.
you're paying for this, and
You're
they're
getting
getting
this.
that all the time, whereas on cable,
They fix it,
every
they
single
screw 'em
person
up.
down the line,
A couple of 3 days
goes
later, you look
online,
again.
slows you down a bit.
And then
And I've
sends
noticed
a
that
message
certain
to
times of
somebody.
days, especially the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
mine is
I noticed
noticeably
we sent it to-
slower
We
Right.
went
than
directly
it
to his
is
email.
3 o'clock in the
The
morning.
next day,
Yeah.
there was a guy up saying.
Yeah, and there's
So change it.
No, he's
yeah,
computer freak.
there's
He said, no.
there's
this is
also.
forgetting.
And they've shown that, like over the weekends or in the evenings,
Oh, you know
people
what
are
you're doing?
home, and so everyone's streaming
So-
Netflix,
Yeah.
and
You might
so
have
that just slows
And then
everyone's
you talk to
internet down,
your neighbor.
unless you have a dedicated line.
Does anybody else, do you live in there?
And so some of the new fiber, like iFiber One
Go
here in
talk to them
town,
and see what they're.
supposedly all of that is dedicated,
Yeah.
That'd be good.
meaning you get a straight line from iFiber One to you, and so you're not being influenced by other people's internet speeds.
I had a frustrating experience the other day. I do business with Heritage Bank, and I was attempting to download statements, and I called them, and I got an answer, and then it didn't work, then I went back. But bottom line, I was using Firefox as a
No, as your internet browser.
provider.
Yep.
And the bank says, well, we have a problem with Firefox.
Mm-hmm.
Try Google Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried Google Chrome and everything worked fine.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, what's going, and I said to the person on the phone, how would I have known that if I hadn't called?
Yeah.
So I wasted an hour and a half or so on this project, but finding out that different, what do they call them?
Web browsers.
Browsers operate differently with different programs.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Firefox is not the best one for me to be using.
Well, you might find another place that you're looking at because you use Google Chrome that, why isn't this working? Well, and then you switch back over to Firefox, it works just fine. It goes both ways.
And it's very true. And I don't know all the ins and outs behind it, so I'm not at all the expert about that. But I do know that here at work, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but every so often I'll try to go to a website on Safari, which is what I use on my Mac, and it won't load. And then I pull up Google Chrome, because I have Chrome installed just as a backup, here at the church, and I'll go on the website and it'll load here. But that same exact website at home loads on Safari. That's what frustrates me. But yes, what they do is they will, whoever the website is they'll build the website in a certain browser, and it's designed for that. So be it Chrome or Firefox, and then they click the little icon, check marks or however they do it with the coding that says make compatible with whatever. And some things just don't cross that compatibility line.
I got a question that's it's on a different line, but it's kind of, I'm really wondering about. Okay. I got Norton, and I resubscribed to it just a couple weeks ago, and everything's worked just fine, and it showed it was, but they kept sending me deals saying I hadn't installed it yet. So I called the lady, I didn't call up, I went up online, chatted with whoever, and she wanted to take control of my computer so that she could go in and find the problems. And she went right in and she fixed it and it works perfect. Now, but she asked me, could I have control? And then the box comes up and I have to click yes or no.
Correct.
And then there was another safeguard. She asked me again, yes or no. And then she had control of anything and everything. And I could click no at any time and kick her out.
Right.
But what's to stop her? Because she could move the mouse around.
Yep.
What would be to stop her from my computer sitting here running right now and I'm not watching it, of going onto my computer and just going over and clicking yes, I can be on it. And then the second yes, I can go ahead and have access to it and take over my machine when I'm nowhere near. And if she can do that so easily, why couldn't anybody that knew what they're doing going to anybody else's machine and do that exact same thing that she did for me, which really helped?
Right. Well, there was the initial yes you had to click to let her into your computer to begin with.
Yeah.
So there's that safeguard. But
She couldn't have clicked that herself then?
No.
Okay.
No. That first initial permission giving then allows her into your computer. Without that initial click on your end, she has no access of your computer.
Okay.
But then after that, nothing. Which is why it's really important to make sure that when if things aren't working right, or if you get, well, first of all, never click on pop-ups. on your screen. Even if you're 90% sure that that really is a Norton or a McAfee or whatever pop up on your screen because you have the program installed, don't click it. Because then it could be fake and someone could then take over your computer. And ransomware is becoming a huge thing right now, where they install a virus on your computer, they completely lock you out from being able to do anything, and then you have to send X number of dollars for them to send you the unlock code to then regain access to your device.
And you have no option?
No, you
You buy a new computer.
buy a new computer.
And if they ask for too much, it'd be cheaper to do that.
You could take it to, the Geek Squad at Best Buy, but there's a really good chance that they won't be able to get around it. It's pretty sophisticated stuff, and unfortunately, it's very cheap for the hackers to get a hold of in the first place.
So the best way to prevent that is?
Just don't ever click on pop-ups. Don't
So you
ever
Click them to knock them off, like to delete them off your computer.
Yeah, you can click the little X button,
Xbox.
but make sure you click the X and not anything else. Don't respond to emails. We've talked about this before, but if you get an email, even if 90% of it looks legitimate or 100% of it looks legitimate, I always either go to that website or call that company and ask first. And I've been told yes before, and I've been told no before. They said, no, that's not. Please send us that email so we can become aware of it.
How do you do that? How do you send an email like that to somebody? Because, they want to know when there's some.
She told me. She said you send it to.
What, do you copy it or you?
You forward it.
Forward it. Okay.
Yeah, you forward it to them. Yeah.
One more
Mm-hmm.
safety thing along that line, because I've got it, and a friend of mine that I keep his computer up and running all the time has got this one where you're on the internet and there's a little box that comes up this center. You have some problems with your computer,
Yes.
or a virus in your computer,
Yes.
and we'll fix that. And then they always say in there that they're part of the Microsoft Corporation. They're
Yes.
not. They give you a
Yes.
1-800 number to call.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want us to fix it now or whatever? And you can click yes or the no. You can also click the little red X at the top and get out of it. And I found that by clicking the red X does not get you out. It opens the box up again and you can't get out. And it does install a problem. Well, I was able to get that off of mine. I found the only way
You say
to, wait a minute. The only way I found that you can get out of those ones, and this is what I do now all the time, when that comes up, I don't click the red X. I Control-Alt-Delete. I go down to the bottom one, the Task Manager,
Mm-hmm.
and from the Task Manager, I highlight the site that's open and end now,
Yeah.
and it eliminates it.
Yeah.
But if you click the red X, puts a little monkey in your machine.
Okay, so you do Control-Alt-Delete and then what?
Yeah, so Control-Alt-Delete takes you to your task manager, which is much like Activity Monitor, Bob. It's the
Okay.
same thing. Activity Monitor for a Mac is Task Manager for a PC.
Okay.
So yeah, Control-Alt-Delete, and then I think on Windows 10,
It's the very bottom one. Task Manager.
it pops up a selection of options, and one of them is Task Manager.
You don't get one to go back.
And Task Manager then lists
Task managers show you everything that's running.
currently running on your computer.
So
Most of those things you don't want to touch.
And tasks.
But
If you're-
yeah,
If it freezes up and you can't get it doing, that's what you
yeah,
really bring me up.
yeah. If it's not someone trying to install a virus or take over your computer, if a program freezes and pushing the X button to close it just doesn't work, if you click Control-Alt-Delete and then you click on Task Manager itself will say program not responding. And then you click on that program and you click End Task, I think. For Macs, it's Force Quit. And it shuts it down without, it
Well-
just forces it to,
Does Control-Alt-Delete work on this also? No?
no, you would go to the disk utility. Or, Bob, if you go to, is it Option? Yes. So if you click Option, Bob, so you look up on the screen. So I've right-clicked on this program and it says Quit. But if it won't quit, if I just hold option, it changes the option to force quit. And force quit is the same thing as end task, is even if it doesn't want to shut down, your system is overriding the program's programming and forces it to happen.
So explain that again, please.
What's an app?
So if you right click on something that's not working,
Okay.
We,
Is
Uh,
that the same thing?
so
So if you pretend, is this the website?
Task manager.
This is the internet here.
Is that
Yeah, well, this is,
So pretend like you don't want this, but it won't let you get rid of it. I mean, it's
like an
there.
iPad, that's the same.
So-
that was just a file.
well, yeah, but that would
I don't know
flip
what
to pages. So right click on pages,
That's what I was trying,
and it says quit.
because he's got
But
that
if you
line up
hold
there.
the option down, it's force quit.
Got it.
So if you click quit and it says cannot quit, or it doesn't actually quit the program,
Got it.
then you hold the option button down and the force quit will show up, and then your computer will override the program.
Okay, now, there's also up here under the Apple force.
Yes,
That's the same
Is
thing.
that-
same thing. Yep. This is just option, just tends to be quicker because it's right there instead of,
All right.
you know.
So
Because I have
how did you get to that?
But remember that, because.
I
if you
think
ever
I'm
get
at
that
where you are on that bottom
little
line,
box
but
in there,
nice.
Well, no, but
It's easy, better to do that.
iPad's going to be different.
Never touch that.
The
red
force
X.
quit on the iPad is
That red
the
X just
is the
pushes
double
it.
They
clicking.
just program that
and then
right to do
swiping.
something.
Okay.
It's malware is what it is.
When you
And they'll say,
when you double click your home
and
button,
it'll say,
Is that, that's
Yeah,
this
like
button
this,
here?
so you-
Yeah.
Here,
Or there'll
and
be a
then you want
virus.
to get rid of that.
Oh, no, I know how to do that.
We have another problem.
well, that's the same thing.
And we can.
Oh,
That is force quit on an iPad.
Oh,
And they give them a
oh,
1-800 number to call.
This is what's been happening with
And
my
it'll say
computer.
in there that
A couple of
we are
weeks ago,
a
it just,
member
the
of the
screen went black.
team.
And fortunately, my
but they're
son was
not.
there, and what he
And
did
if you
is he
click
said he just repeatedly hit
accept
F2
Or
until a
decline,
menu came
or
up.
red
And
X,
you click on exit,
you've
and
just,
then it came
you've
back.
just
Yeah.
downloaded the
Very
bug,
happy.
whatever it is that they have. And then you
Then
realize.
last week, it
but you
apparent,
go to
I
control,
wasn't
delete
at it at the
that
time,
one.
but it apparently shut down, because when I came
Yeah.
back, the starting
shut down.
Windows screen was there, and it was
Doesn't do
frozen.
anything.
Hmm.
It
Very
wouldn't go, I unplugged it stayed on the screen. I mean, it.
As a-
nothing shut
And that
down.
was a desktop computer, not a laptop.
It's a laptop.
Well, that's because then it's running off batteries.
Oh, that's right.
So then you would have to flip it over and pull the battery
Yeah,
out.
and normally I don't have the battery in there, but the other day I put it in and to charge it up.
Mhm.
So,
Yep. So that's why it was doing that.
all right.
One of the other options,
Then it had to do a restore to get
Yeah.
me back on.
if you don't want to buy a new computer, some of the other options you can do is do a disk defrag
Yeah. I did that
and
for-
clean up utility. If you haven't done those, you can run all of those things and see if that helps pep up your computer a little bit. And if it doesn't do it or doesn't do it enough, then it probably is just time to
I
upgrade.
was doing a search for a recipe, actually. And I went to one webpage, Betty Crocker, whatever it was, but whatever.
Mhm.
And up comes this big red warning, your computer, there's a virus in there.
Mhm.
And it was, that bug was put into that particular webpage.
Mhm.
Because when I went to a different one, I went from, well, to different search, and I clicked on it, it wasn't there. I'm thinking, those dirty birds, they contaminated
Yeah.
They do
one
it.
specific webpage.
They do it on your iPhone. I've clicked on websites on my iPhone, and it pops up this thing that your iPhone is infected, and click here to,
Call
and-
it an 800.
and you can't close that window out, and so basically you're locked out of Safari. But if you do the double click on the home button and close Safari, and then you reopen it, then you've got an opportunity to close that tab. But yeah, I mean, it's everywhere, and it never click on pop-ups. In fact, if you want to take a little extra precaution for yourself, you can install pop-up blockers. There's
Well, I rarely get pop-ups. Are there certain computers that are more prone to that, or is Windows 10?
no, it's
prone to
mostly
that?
just it's websites.
Yeah.
Either the website is not a safe website, and they allow them, or the website has been compromised.
On some of the earlier window or well, it wasn't really so much Windows, it was Internet Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
You go up to tools, and there was, one of the tools was enable or disable
Pop-ups.
blockers.
Yeah.
I don't think it's there now.
It might not be, but like I know for a fact that Chrome and Firefox have extensions, and so you go to their extension store. That's what they call it. It's not really a store, but it's a place where they have all their extensions, and then you can install pop-up blockers. You can install all kinds of different things. You know, the I've talked about before, you can install things like the Web of Trust extension, which the Web of Trust searches websites. And so if you do a Google search, little green check marks, we have what we have here, the automatically, what do you mean Google can't load? There we go. Let's see here. Tech news. And so now Bitdefender has these little green, and it's letting me know that if I go visit CNET, which I already know is a good page, it lets me know that it's a safe page by being green. Yellow would be mostly safe, but be cautious, and red would mean don't go there.
I have Trend Micro, and what it does, it just
Yeah.
highlights the
Mhm.
in green if it's okay, and
Yep.
then it's black if it's not okay.
Yeah, so they do it differently, but that's another good way to make sure that you're keeping yourself
What's the name of
safe.
that program?
Bitdefender.
Is that
And
something I should?
There's a
put in?
free version. I think they have a free version for, this is a paid version, but they also have a free version for Macs.
I've just updated, well, a little bit ago, to this one over my last laptop, because I knew my old one was going bad, and my desktop I also updated.
Right.
And you're gonna probably be doing the same thing. So when you get these old ones you want to get rid of, and you don't want to just throw it in garbage, because it still has life in it, but there's information on there I don't want going out to people. And so if I give it to Goodwill,
Right.
and somebody who's really good could go in there and get my tax returns, don't get stuff off of it. Norton has a program, their utilities, that will clean my machine up, but once you put that on the machine, it is really, really hard to ever get back off. So I was wondering, is there any free sites that sweeps or cleans or whatever that you can download on your computer that'll write the little X's over everything that's been thrown in the garbage?
It comes built in. You restore your computer to factory settings.
Okay.
And with the traditional disk drive, with a traditional hard drive, which is a disk with ribbons, there's still potential always that fragments of the data are left, and so you would need to.
Well, the one that Norton had is it wrote every program that was still good and open, it left alone. But any hard disk space that had a program that had been uninstalled or deleted from the garbage can, whatever, it wrote X's and O's over it. And then you could do it the government secure way, which would roll it over twice. And they'll go up to 99 times, which would be. But
yeah,
and that's what I was doing with mine all the time to keep it cleaned up that way. But
yeah, well, and you can run the built-in one is also disk defrag, which I was mentioning to Joan. And what that does is with a traditional hard drive, as I was telling Bob before class started, is that because it's a disk, it starts writing from the center and then goes out, much like an old vinyl. And as you get further out, one, it takes longer to get there to read, and so that's part of the reason why computers slow down. But two is when you erase something, it doesn't automatically squish things down. It just leaves it as a blank spot on your hard drive, and so when you run the disk defrag, it takes those empty spaces and repositions those programs and those files into the empty spots.
But you could have spots if you had something installed that was way out in outer space in it. And since it's not installing anything out there, you could have stuff out there that never got written over, and then somebody could go and find that.
Right. Which is why, yeah, when you sell your computer, either one, you remove the hard drive yourself, which is what I did with our old desktops, and then just keep it or destroy it, run some super magnets over it to erase it. If it's traditional, it won't do that with a SSD hard
Throw it
drive.
in the fireplace.
Throw it in the fireplace.
Lots of sparks.
Yeah. Yeah, there you can restore your computer to factory settings. It's a feature that's been in Windows computers for a long time. And then there'll be nothing but when you first bought the computer is what it is.
So is that right over the rest of
It erases everything on your computer and just all of your
programs.
programs, all of your files, everything that used to be on there, and only put back on what came with the computer the day you bought it. And then you can, give it to your niece or nephew or give it to
It'll
Goodwill.
wipe out, if you started with 7, it'll wipe out 10.
Yeah, it'll restore it back to whatever original
Yeah,
operating
Which is
system.
okay.
Yeah.
So one thing, and maybe this relates to Bob's original question, was I know I tried to find it, but the Simpson Credit Union, our credit union, they recently put out a notice that as of March 18th or something, you have to have this upgraded browser criteria or protocol. And it may be that all the credit unions and banks are raising the level.
Okay, so what?
Well, I tried to look and see what it was, and it didn't make sense to me, but I figured they'd tell me if it.
Well, they're probably, I don't know which one, but they're 256-bit encryption, I think, is now the new standard, or the
So
standard
they're all
now.
kind of upgrading their security, and
Yep.
so that may be part
So
of
do they
it.
tell you what browser you have?
Well, it gave me a protocol, certain numbers that
Well, and it's always,
I don't want to open it here because.
from our end, it's always best to make sure that you have the latest version. And they usually auto-install updates, the web browsers like Chrome and Firefox usually auto-install their own updates, and they don't even tell you. And so you're usually always up to date, unless you told it that it can't auto-update.
Yeah, I keep everything updated, but there are probably people out there that, don't update on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So those are the people that are talking.
That are having issues. Yeah.
One thing with one of the credit unions I use, a local one here, they make a change. I just found this out every 4 months now. You have to change the password.
yeah.
Yep.
So that's something new coming. Whereas the other ones I have, I've never changed.
Yeah. Yeah, and some, like if you, my Hotmail account, there's actually a feature you can turn on in settings for it to auto remind you to update your password and then you can say every month, every 3 months, 6 months, every year. And then it'll send, and then when you log in one day, it'll say time to update your password. And so then you update your password.
So how do you do that when I probably got 20 accounts, and some are easy passwords because they don't matter, and some are very important passwords, which I've given different passwords to change all of them.
You'd
Just
either
take
on
the
your,
time
I've been through this.
no, do not. Yeah, one of the things I encourage people to do is find some way, whether it's I have a password manager application on my phone and store all of them in there and update them. So if I update a password, then I just update it on my phone. And that way, one, you have them and you don't ever have to remember them. Two, it's not written down on a piece of paper that could be stolen or photocopied or taken a picture of with a cell phone. And three, you can have a diversity of passwords, which is what they recommend anyway. And then you also don't have to remember them and can then just look them up on either your phone. They have them for your computer too. And then the only password you have to remember is the password to get into your password manager application.
One thing that Kim Commander suggested a while back was make a password that is a long phrase, like my house is purple, pink, and then put Google. And .google. You know, if there's enough digits in there, they're gonna have more difficulty getting into your password. I mean, you got to, and maybe you put in, you know, an asterisk or something, throw it in there. But if you use a long phrase like, you know, whatever, something not logical.
Well, now you pretty much have to have caps and smalls and
Yes.
one letter.
Yeah.
One letter, one number, uppercase, lowercase.
So start with the first as a cap or something.
Yep.
Something that's easy to, but you have to remember it.
Yes, well, that's the other thing. Like the password manager app also can suggest passwords, and you can set the criteria for it. But and it usually spits out gibberish, but you can set it so that it actually spits out words or a series of words.
Okay, I've been looking also into Office to put that on the new computer.
Yes.
Is there no way you can buy it?
Can't. No, you can still buy it. They just really push the subscription method. Everybody's doing it. Adobe, like Lightroom, I've got Lightroom 5. I'm probably not going to upgrade because they want a monthly subscription for it. Actually, I personally did go the route of the subscription service for Office. And I did that because we have both Windows and Mac computers in our conglomerate of computers that we have. And that was actually probably long-term, maybe not, but I mean, long-term, maybe not. But it provides us 5 licenses to computers, regardless of whether or not they're a Mac or a PC. And so that made sense for us to be able to install 3 Mac licenses and 2 Windows licenses. But you can still, and maybe 16, the newest version.
Of disk.
Yeah, well, 13 works fine.
Or even older.
Well, I have it 2010.
2010 is a good version.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna use Word and maybe Excel and maybe PowerPoint. and-
No, not PowerPoint,
Okay.
Publisher and
Publisher.
Office.
So,
But yeah, here you go. Office Home and Student 2016. Well, it's a PC download, but still, you don't want the ones that say Office 365.
Yeah.
365 is the subscription service.
Okay.
If you get ones that say Home and Student, Home and Business, and have a year attached to them, then that's an actual, well, there's 365. That's the subscription model. But
So that 365 was less, it was like $100.
$100 a year.
Or a year,
Yeah.
okay.
Next year's another $100.
Yeah.
Next year's another $100.
do you still have your disk for?
Well, that's what I'm thinking, I hope so.
Yeah, and if you have
And
the
your
disk,
disk,
then you can just uninstall it from your current computer and then reinstall it on your new one.
Oh, I have to uninstall it?
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's only good for one machine.
Like it's the
It needs
license,
code,
yeah, is
License.
attached. So if you uninstall it, then you're removing the license from that device, and then when you install on the new one, then it knows that you've got that license available for the new.
Because see, what I was thinking was keeping the laptop,
Mhm.
but then that doesn't work.
Unless you buy a new copy of Office.
Yeah.
And you,
What
do you know,
website
Mike?
are you-
This is
Office?
Amazon.
Do you have it on both machines right now?
She does one.
Your old one?
I have it on my laptop, yeah.
And you have it on your.
Oh, she's been
That's
buying
Oh,
what-
I haven't bought it yet. I just have one right now.
You know, you can always talk to, do you know Mike Boyd?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Talk to Mike. He
Okay.
is amazing at finding deals on
Okay.
this kind of stuff. He did a great job. He's doing a great job here.
My
And
2012 home and student
yeah,
license for 2 machines. So you might.
yeah. There's some where you can find like 2 or 3 licenses. This says 1 user, but there are ones where you can get multi-user. But there aren't ones where it's multi-user for multi-operating system, which is why I went the 365 route. So yes, I pay $100 a year, which, you know, breaks down to less than $10 a month.
$9 a month.
Yeah. So that, but I also get the latest version instantly. And I get updates probably once a month to the newest features that they're adding, which is convenient for me. But it's not for everyone. And I really don't think it is for everyone. It's probably not for the majority of people. And I 100% recognize that. One of the other nice things it has, which I haven't taken advantage of, is you get a terabyte of cloud storage through their OneDrive. And I think I also get 60 minutes a month of Skype, because Microsoft owns Skype. And so I get 60 minutes worth of calling for Skype if I ever needed to use that, if I'm overseas or something, which obviously I don't do much of. But if I ever happen to need Skype, or I can always use that.
Okay, Windows 10.
Yes.
I have no option to go to Windows 7.
You do. It'd take more time and research, but you could probably find some Windows 7 computers. Yeah.
They really do different.
Yeah.
They're pretty much gone. Costco used to have.
Costco used to. I don't think that they
50,
do.
and then they had maybe 2 machines had Windows 7, and I just looked. I didn't see any that had it. And if they're gone, they're gone. And one made just.
Now these are gaming computers, but iBuyPower is a website that sells gaming desktops. And all gaming means is that they have high performance, but they do have some that are reasonably priced, and they let you pick what operating system you want.
And who is this?
It's kind of like iPhone, buy, B-U-I, power, P-O-W-E-R. And Costco actually sells their computers. Shop all departments, computers, desktops. Operating system. Yeah.
For $70.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, it looks like
Going to Google, or that's what I did, and
yeah.
I got this, softwareempire.com.
yeah, it even looks like Costco.com. Your only operating system, Windows 10 or Windows 10 Professional.
They've got.
Yeah, but they did for a long time. They had
have a few
they
subs.
had 10, 8.1, and 7. But it's been a while since I looked. So,
Okay.
but it's also been a while since I've looked at iBuyPower. But they're also motivated by catering to the individual, not buying in bulk like Costco does. So
You can buy Windows 7 programs for $50.
the operating system,
Professional or home premium.
Then what do? Delete?
you just install Windows 7.
It'll
It'll overwrite.
whatever's in there.
Oh, okay.
But that might be quite a headache. I don't know what. I've never tried
Is it
to.
32? Well,
I've never tried to downgrade.
Yeah.
I mean, I've downgraded from Windows 10 to Windows 8 because their option was available from Microsoft, but I've never actually hard downgraded like that. So I don't know what kind of.
They're backward compatible, but they're not. That one would be trying to be.
Well,
The opposite way of what they want to go.
Yes.
Even Windows 10 will let you install Windows 7.
You can, but I'm just not sure how easy of a process it would be. Upgrading is easy. They make it easy, but I don't know how easy.
It is. Are they even?
And it might be
7 now?
easy. Well, yeah, it'll run. And
It'll run, but
fine.
are they still supporting it?
Yes. I was looking at stuff today because Windows 10 is coming out with a new update. The Creators Studio or something like that is what they're calling the newest update to Windows 10 that's coming out soon. So you can look, if you've got a Windows 10, you can look and see what new features are coming out in the Creators Studio. But Vista, not that you ever wanted to ever have Vista, But if you did ever have Vista or do have Vista for any reason, they are, it's 10 years old now. And so they are, much like they did with Windows XP, they are now going to start no longer offering support for Windows Vista, which I don't think anyone's mad about. Like there's this whole thing about they no longer supporting XP, and there's a huge uproar about that, and they kept extending the period. I don't think anything like that's going to happen for Windows Vista. So, but yeah, Windows 7 will probably be supported for, I don't know,
Why don't we
3 to
do
5
7
years.
instead of 10?
Different
Change.
learning curve.
Yeah, I
Everything
did.
changes.
I
Yeah.
downloaded that Bitdefender, or went to put it into my iPad, and it ran.
I upgraded
Did
to 10 when it's
this.
free, you know, and
I don't know
like
what
it,
to do
so
now.
I
No,
use them during
Bitdefender's for
that
a computer, not for a tablet.
Oh, so then what do I have to do if I want to set up this?
So you don't need it on your
And
iPad.
in the future.
Okay, so then how do I get rid of this?
I didn't
Just-
like it,
Close the tab,
but I stuck with it.
because that's just a website.
Oh,
You know, speaking of Bitdefender,
Now,
Yeah.
I've gone to search on
Bitdefender.
Bitdefender, and it has a variety of web pages. Some are from Bitdefender. One is
Now
to charge you, one
Learning
is,
future.
Yeah. No,
one
this
is
is
for
very
free.
helpful.
How are
Thank
they
you all.
marketing?
Nice.
If you buy the free,
It's
is
only
it
money.
eventually gonna lead you into paying for?
Well,
it?
so with the, yeah, in I mean, most antivirus programs do this now. Like, so Bitdefender, AVG, Avast, they all offer free versions of their software. And what that does is it gets you basic protection. But it doesn't protect you from, it's not their entire, what the
So you
program
get
can
part-
fully
a
do.
part of the
So you get a
program.
part of it, and you get to see what you do get, and it tells you what you don't get. And basically, it's a way to try
Market.
before you buy.
Okay,
Or if you think, well, I really don't need any of those paid features, then you can just use the most basic. So you're still protecting yourself, but at the same time, you're not doing everything possible to protect your computer.
and they'll tell you what it is doing and what it can do if you wanna pay.
Yeah, and even on the website, you'll see almost all of them do this. They've got the free, the paid, and then like the pro and the
Check mark.
super pro, and then they've got, yes, it's got a list of things
All
that
checks.
of
Got
all
it,
the
got it.
features, and then it's got check marks of what the free, and the paid version do,
Mhm.
and what. So you'll see what the differences
Got it.
are.
Got it.
Yep. All right, that's it. Yeah. So anyway, there is a. I had it open, but I kept closing because the online YouTube class thing wasn't working. But I think it's Studio. You can site open, and first if you've got a 10 PC, you can see.
One problem, again, Kim Canano was pointing out is that I think it was on Google sites, when they do their update next September, there's a lot of apps, they're switching to 64-bit, and any apps.
Apple's
that are
doing that
32
too.
Yeah, 32-bit are not
Yeah.
gonna work in them. So you may or may not want to do the update to 11 or whatever it is.
iOS 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Unless
I
you-
think part of well, Apple's doing two things. One, yes, they're going to a 64-bit exclusive environment. And so that'll either force companies to upgrade to 64-bit, but I think part of the reason why they're doing it is that's helping eliminate apps that are no longer being supported anymore anyway.
Yeah, but
And then Apple is actually doing that. If an app has not been updated in X number of years, and
they won't.
then they're just going to actually just take it off the App Store, unless there's like the company is also active in other areas. I believe, I don't know all the criteria for what determines whether or not it gets removed, but there's lots of stuff on the App Store, obviously, and so they just want to help clear it up out of stuff that's just isn't used or necessary, or companies aren't supporting. Yeah. Yeah, unless it's, you know, again, there will be criteria. Maybe the app is exactly the way it should be, and there's no need to update unless, you know, new operating system comes out, and so they got to tweak a few things because of that. But yeah, so I think that might be also another reason behind it. So